Hey YouTubers, this is Last Page Looker here, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on books, and I thought I'd show you guys my Stephen King collection. I won't talk too much about them, but these are just my hardback covers. I'll do my paperbacks in another video. So here we go. First book I got here is Firestarter. I am in the process of reading this book right now. So right now I like it. I've seen the movie, but and the movie was good. You know, it's old. One of his first books, easier to read. His early writings I thought was a lot easier to read and understand than as he got older. Okay. These are in no particular order either. Second book here, I've got Stephen King's Just After Sunset. This is a book of short stories. I've read a few of these short stories, and some of them pretty good, so I can't complain. You know, I just come back to it every once in a while. Skeleton Crew, another book of short stories. I haven't really read it. I've heard a lot of good things about it though. This is one I haven't read. This is a pretty beat up copy. I like to keep my books in good condition. I got this one on eBay. Found out it wasn't this bad. The dust cover's pretty bad. But I've heard, there's another short story. I haven't read many of his short story books, but this one I heard was not very good. But, you know, that's people's opinions. I'll be the judge of that. Oh, Eyes of the Dragon. Have not read it. I've started it, but it's a short book. Probably won't take me but a day or two. But I've heard a lot of great things about this book. Maybe we'll finally get the books that I've read. Oh, here we go. Talisman. Now this book started out really slow. I almost gave up on it. I think I did give up on it, but I started reading it again. And I'll tell you what, it's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Stephen King books. Really love The Talisman. Pet Sematary. Another good book. Much better than the movie. Short, easy read. One of his early writes. Really good book. I think you'd like it. You know, I'm not as scary as people think it is. I didn't think it was that scary. It's just kind of weird. Christine. I have not read it. Seen the movie many times. Can't wait to read it. But there's so many books that I have. It's just one of those in line. I'm trying to start with the first books he wrote, because I've read a lot of his books later on. This is one of the first ones. So with Firestarter, then The Dead Zone, so a Night Shift. So this will be one of them I'll read here in a couple weeks. The Stand, big book, thick book. Took me about a month and a half to read. It's slow in some parts, but it, you know, really takes off quick. You know, he develops the characters really well. I'd say very good book. Very good book. One of my favorites, The Green Mile. Can't complain. The movie was pretty close, spot on to it. Great book if you want to read a book. This came out, I think, in 6 smaller books, and this right here is the book completed, but a very good book. Rose Madder. A lot of people didn't like Rose Madder. Me, I thought it was decent. You know, I held up a couple books and I asked my wife which one I should read next, and she picked this one, and I'm glad she did. Actually, a really good book. You know, about domestic abuse, and the antagonist is a real jerk. So not too bad. I enjoyed it. Next book is Insomnia. Now, Insomnia, some people didn't like it, some people didn't understand it, but to me, you know, it had a lot to do with the Dark Tower series, which to me is my favorite. So you know, once again, it was a little slow, but it started out. You know, you just kept reading, and then, you know, great book. Really loved it. Big book too, real big. Dolores Claiborne. Have not read it yet. It's gonna be a quick read. You know, heard a lot of good things about it. There's a movie out. I haven't watched the movie, but from what I know, you know, it's about a maid that works for a lady. She ended up killing the husband, I think. So can't wait to watch it. That's my phone, and we'll shut that off. Gerald's Game. Have not read it, but heard it was a really good book. there's only, I think, one character. She gets stuck in the bedroom in handcuffs, so I think it gets more imagination than anything. I haven't read it though, but I can't wait to read it. The Dark Half. I started reading this book, kind of lost interest with it. I'll get back to it. Let's see. Yeah, about halfway through Tadpole Mine, really lost interest in it. I don't know. Sometimes I do that with Stephen King. Tommyknockers. It's another one I started reading. And I got about 300 pages to go. And it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. It seems like it's dragged on. It seems like it could have been over with a long time ago. Next one. I've got Lizzie's or Lizzie's Story, depends on how you say it. I have not read this one yet. I will get to it eventually. I started it. I start a lot of books that I don't get to. I end up finding something else, lose my interest. But I will get to this book. From a Buick 8. Good book. Real good book. I didn't think I was going to like it, but it's nothing like Christine. I'll tell you what, it's a good Stephen King book. You should give us a chance. The only Dark Tower series book I have in hardback. I have another one coming, The Gunslinger coming, but this is the only one I have. And this is The Dark Tower, the last one. Of course, a lot of people didn't like the ending, but how else could it have ended? I thought, it was a great way to end. Roland's a great character. But to me, I love the book. Big book. Another one of his big books. Bag of Bones. Have not read it. I did watch the miniseries. I thought the miniseries was really good. I will read it. Sometimes I like to watch the movie first and then read it. I'm not one of those that can't wait. I want to know what's going on. But to me, I've heard good and bad about this. So when I read it, I'll be able to tell whether it's good or not. Let's see. This is my very first Stephen King book I ever read, which was the Richard Bachman book, The Regulators. And to me, I loved it. I love this book. I loved it so much I couldn't wait. I went out and got Desperation, which is the next book. And I'm sure most of you know this. The covers kind of match up. If you match them up, because they're supposed to coincide at the same time. You got Stephen King, Richard Bachman, Desperation. Everyone's talked good about it. I have not read it though. That's sad. I have not read it, but I will. I will. Trust me. But The Regulators, I love The Regulators. Revival. This is his latest book. Good book. More of the supernatural, more of, sci-fi, of religious book, but not preachy at all or not against religion, just a religious book. I thought it was a good book. Quick read, not too big, but it was a good book. You should give it a chance. Mr. Mercedes, very good book. It's more of it's not a murder mystery because you know the killer and you know the good guy, but I'll tell you what, you didn't know what the killer was going to do next or how he was going to get stopped. Very good. It's going to be a trilogy. The next one comes out, I believe Hodges is the main character, comes out in June, so can't wait to get that. Mr. Mercedes is a really good book. Dr. Sleep, second one of The Shining. It was good. I like The Shining better. Kind of big into drugs with the main character on this one. Sometimes he can't get away from that. But it was a good book. Quick read, not too thick of a book. But, it had some good characters in it. Went Through the Keyhole. This is the only Dark Tower book I have not read. It is like 4.5 in this series out of the 7 books or 8 books. So I will get to this when I'm kind of missing Rolling in the Gang, but I have not read this book yet. 11/22/63. I started reading this. It made me mad. I quit. Then I started reading it again, and I'm glad I did. I tell you what, very good book. The characters were in it were just unbelievable. The way it ended had to end that way, which sucked, but it was a great ending. It was a really good book. If you would read one of his thicker books, this would be a great one to read. 11/22/63. You won't be disappointed. And I believe it's going to be a series on Hulu Plus. And here's my last hard copy book, Stephen King, Under the Dome. This was another one that made me mad when I was reading it. So I quit, but I'm glad I got back to it. Finished it. Great book, great characters. The antagonist in this, I hated him more than any other in all of his books. And this, I believe this is the collector's edition here. But the mayor, I don't think he calls him mayor, but he was just a complete and total jerk. And I just hated him. But good, very good book. The series sucked, but it's nothing to do with the book. You have to go in thinking that the series is going to be something totally different. But the book was great. So these are all my hardback books. I have a whole bunch of paperbacks that I will get to on my next video. I hope you enjoyed. If you know of a good place to get books, hardback books for cheap, please comment. Okay, thank you.